The foundation of our foundation is you that have come here today. I want to make sure that our foundation is well established and sustainable and allows us to do the unique things that we're known for. I'd like to start out this meeting by asking Trustee Emeritus Ron Nosek of Hessen Industry to come up here and to start us off with some stories about the foundation. Ron.
Perhaps my dad's favorite saying, one that was drilled in me from the time that I was a young man, is this: the job is worth doing, it's worth doing right. So I thought I'd focus my comments this afternoon on the work of the job that the Conservation Foundation does. And of course, that begs the question, what is the job that the Conservation Foundation does? The answer to that is quite simple. You go to their website, if you look at any piece of promotional literature you receive in the mail, they tell you what their job is in 2 simple sentences. We save land, we save rivers. When they do that, they give us clean air, healthy streams, uncut forests, and bountiful meadows. And the value of that, the worth of that, manifests itself to us through our 5 senses. You can hear it in the laughter of children playing in the restored street. You can hear it in the chirps, in the tweets, in the songs of the crickets, in the birds, in the squirrels, in the forest and the prairies. You can see it in the seasonal colors, the plants and the animals of the natural world. In the stark contrast of the winter, and the pale greens and yellows of the new growth in the spring, and the vibrant colors of the birds and butterflies and the flowers in the summer. And then the rich reds and golds and browns of the fall. And then we have to work out the winter vegetation with that. You can see it also in the smiles on the faces of the people who take the time to open their eyes and to look. You can smell it in the earthiness of an uncut forest or in the fragrance of a wildflower prayer. You can feel it in the coolness of the breeze wafting across the protected wetland or in the dampness of the morning mist rising above the meadow. I believe that we can taste it. Not literally, but I believe that we can taste it in our spirits. Because these natural areas, the land and the rivers, the Conservation Foundation saves, these natural areas are the places that we humans once called home.
I want to thank everyone for attending today. My name is Brooke McDonald, and for the past 19 years, I've had the pleasure of serving as the President and CEO for the Conservation Foundation.
Go ahead.
Now, some of you may not know this, but prior to that, I was actually a volunteer for the Conservation Foundation for 7 years. So I've been involved with this organization in some capacity now for more than half of the nearly 43 years of our existence. I've seen a lot of change, and I've seen a whole lot of good people come together to do good conservation work. But I choose to be here. I choose to be here because of the people that I'm able to work with. The staff, our board of trustees, our volunteers, and you, our friends and our donors. I have actually met some of the most fascinating and some of the most wonderful people in my life through my association with the Conservation Foundation over the past 25 years. I also choose to be here because this is where I feel I can make a difference. I can make a difference here because I want to think globally and I want to act globally. That's something I seek in my life, and that's something that we seek as an organization. And this is a place where you can make a difference too. If you weren't interested in making a difference, you probably wouldn't even be here today. So we appreciate you coming and learning what you might be able to do to help. I think we all want to make a difference, we all want to have impact, and we all want to leave some sort of legacy. To me, nature is spiritual. In nature, I find truth and I find meaning in my life. Nature doesn't have political spin. Nature is not interested in propaganda. Nature is not interested in advertising. Nature is not trying to sell me something. Nature is 100% pure, it's 100% true, and it's 100% real. If you want to be grounded in truth, you can find that in nature. That's where I find it. I find my gravity, I find my balance when I go to the woods, when I go to the prairie. This is very important to me in my life. We all have stress, we all have things go wrong, we all get bummed out sometimes. When that happens to me, I go to the woods and it goes away. It calms me and I'm at peace. But what nature really does for me is it gives me perspective. It reminds me of what is important in my life. What's important to me is that I want to be a good person. I want to be a good husband. And I want to be a good father to my 3 children. I want to be a good friend. I want to be a good neighbor. I want to be involved in my community. And I want to make sure that I'm a good role model, being a good steward of our environment and our earth for future generations. I honestly can't imagine me doing anything else. And I thought about this. I can't figure out what else I could be doing in my life than being right here. I can make a difference here. You can make a difference here. We all want to make a difference. Our mission of preserving and restoring open space and natural areas, cleaning up and protecting our rivers, streams, and watersheds, and promoting good stewardship of the environment is sacred to me. As the CEO, it is my responsibility to make sure, as an organization, I am the champion of that mission. It is my job to make sure we stay focused on that mission and that the work we do moves that mission forward. And I think we've had a profound impact in our communities on that mission over the past 42 years. We have helped preserve more than 32,000 acres of land in parks and forests. And we've done that together by partnering with parks and forest preservers. And those parks, those open spaces, are in your communities. They're in your neighborhoods, and they're easy to get to. We have also restored miles and cleaned up miles of streams and rivers, improved water quality, helped create greenways for recreation, restored aquatic habitat, and our volunteers have removed 250 tons of trash and debris from our rivers and streams through our DuPage River Suite, helping to reduce flooding. We have educated thousands of children through our environmental education programs, particularly through our Mighty Acorns programs, introducing them to the outdoors and engaging them in nature and teaching them on how to be good stewards of our environment. And we've even brought the conservation message right to your front yard through our Conservation at Home program. We've certified more than 1,000 properties over the past 7 years as environmentally friendly. We've installed 11,000 rain barrels on your downspouts. And we plan on doing a whole lot more in that area. These achievements are huge. They made a difference in our communities. But to me, it's just the tip of the iceberg on what we could do. It's just an appetizer. Our long-term vision is to ensure that conservation becomes a culture in every community we work in. That people who live there consider conservation as a core value, where they expect clean water. They expect clean air. They expect to have nature close to where they live. And they expect to have wildlife living in harmony in their communities. So, what specifically do we want to do in the short term? Over the next 5 years, we want to preserve 35 new parcels of land. That will protect thousands of acres of open space in your communities and in your neighborhoods. This will only happen if we have boots on the ground. If we are out developing relationships with landowners, talking to landowners, and creating unique partnerships with local units of government like we did down in Ottawa with the Dayton Bluffs. Over the next 5 years, we want to certify another 1,000 properties conservation at home, and with our new conservation at work program. We want to distribute another 10,000 rain barrels and put them up to your downspouts. And we want to plant thousands of oak trees on our suburban landscape as part of the Regional Oak Recovery Initiative. Now, to accomplish this, we actually need to bring in another staff person, another full-time equivalent, to work with homeowners, to work with local businesses, and to take a huge step forward in creating an urban oasis for nature and people. This will lead to cleaner air, cleaner water, and it'll bring nature right to your front doorstep. That's important for our children to have that kind of easy access to nature. And speaking of children, they're our future. We all know that. We want them to grow up to make good decisions as adults, and we want to train the next generation of conservation leaders. Over the next 5 years, we want to reach 20,000 kids through our environmental education program, especially through our Mighty Acorns program. We also want to engage more families in their neighborhoods, cleaning up their local creeks that flow through their subdivisions. To accomplish this, we need an environmental education coordinator who will be able to spend the time required to talk to the schools, to talk to the teachers and the principals, and also to create relationships with homeowners associations to work on neighborhood scale conservation. You can't get any more local than that, and you can't have any more impact than that. So, here we are today, and here's where we need to be in 5 years. We need your help to get there. We need to work together as a team to get there. Our collective power will continue to move us forward and push back that wall of resistance. So I want to thank you all for coming today and learning a little bit about our vision and what our plans are for the near future. And perhaps think about a way that you might be able to participate in that. I also want to thank all of you who have been supporting us over the years. It's been remarkable. I will promise you this. If we can work together, we will continue to work on our mission with passion and conviction. Our past success is your success. Our future impact will belong to all of us. I've shared a little bit with you today about my personal views of nature and what we work on at the Conservation Foundation and what motivates me. What I'd like to do now is share a short video with you about what our conservation work means to some of our members.
My name is Pam Parr, and I'm on the board of trustees with the Conservation Foundation. When my dad was 6 years old, a man well known in the community took him into the wilderness and taught him how to live off the land. This man, his name was Billy. He taught my dad how to hunt and fish, hunt following deer tracks, fish using a bow and arrow, and learned how to sleep in the wilderness with the brush as his blanket. He also taught my father a very deep love and respect for the land and nature. He loved the mountains that rose up on it, the waters that ran through it, and the wildlife that thrived in it. Dad grew up and played and learned from one of the very first conservation projects in the world. You now know it as Yellowstone National Park. And the man that took him out, Billy Estes, was one of the last true mountain men that was raised and lived in Cody country. I remember the stories. I grew up with them. When I was 6, was my first venture to my grandparents' ranch in Cody, Wyoming. It's called the Lazy MD. In one of the large fields, the Lakota Sioux camped for the summer as they participated in the nightly Cody Rodeo. I loved going down there. I remember the stories that the Indians would tell about great battles and great hunts. But I was most enamored over the stories and the legends of the land and nature, and how the land belonged to all of us, yet none of us. I was mesmerized. Thus began my long passion for conservation and conservation education. For years, I looked for an organization that would be as passionate as I was, and I found it in Brooke at the Conservation Foundation. In 2007, the foundation was instrumental in helping save an old Boy Scout camp that was destined to become just another housing development in Kendall County. That old Boy Scout camp is now known as Hoover Forest Preserve. Today, those 425 acres are known as the Preserve. And I have been out there and watched a family of 6 lying on their back, laughing uncontrollably as they're making snow angels on a January day. I have seen an old gentleman bait his grandson's hook as he talks to him about the time that he taught his dad to fish. I've seen many, many couples of all ages who stroll down the paths and the trails and stop abruptly to watch a family of raccoon run under a tree. And I've seen the amazement in kids, especially a young girl, who looked up at this night sky and was told, no, those aren't airplanes. They're stars and planets. I'm all in. I'm hooked on this outfit. Through the work of the foundation, I know that I make a difference in someone's life every day. I also know that I will make a difference in the generation of kids who follow. My legacy is enduring and meaningful. And yet on those rare occasions when I get overwhelmed with the work to do and I become discouraged, I think back to my father's words and I think to myself, well, maybe my efforts are insignificant. And then the words come flooding through, and they were these words. If you ever think that what you do is insignificant in any way and doesn't matter, think of going to bed with a mosquito in the room.
Thank you, Pam, for sharing your story with us. Okay, I gotta shake off some of that touchy feeling. Get my job done here. What a great organization, a great afternoon. Thank you for being here. My name's Dale Johnson, and I've been a volunteer with the Conservation Foundation for several years. I volunteered at some events, facilitated a board and staff program, attended the annual Earth Day auction with many of you and dinner. And as an elected official, I know this organization to be our go-to resource for information, education, and advocacy on anything conservation. So it's been a great resource for all of us. You have heard today the Conservation Foundation's story, met some wonderful people, I hope in person at your tables as well as in video and up here speaking to you. It is my privilege today to ask you for your financial investment to support this foundation and the work that we do. Today we're launching the foundation, Strengthening Our Foundation initiative. If you've been inspired, as I have, by what you've seen today, and would like to support the needs of the foundation, I invite you to join me as a founding member of our Strengthening Our Foundation initiative. Now, before I ask the table captains to pass out some pledge cards and have you really consider seriously what you're about to do, I have something very exciting to announce. Before we met today, a small group of some very generous donors already made donations totaling $100,000. These donations will go a long way towards our goal of preserving open space and making sure children have the chance to receive environmental education in their schools. Now I'd like to ask the table captains to open those envelopes and pass out the pledge cards that are people at the table. Now at the top of those cards, there's of course a place for your name. The pledge level names that we're asking for today are meant to give you a sense of what your contribution can do. The contributions will go toward the unrestricted funds of the Conservation Foundation. So we're going to start at the top and just walk through the pledge card. The first level of giving is Living Legacies. It's a pledge of $10,000 a year for 5 years. Now, for those of you who are able to donate at this level, and we know you are here in this room today, your gift will enable us to leverage that $50,000 into $500,000 to purchase and protect high-quality natural areas. Now, the next level of giving is entitled Engaged Communities. This pledge of $5,000 each year for 5 years. Your gift could ensure that 200 new homes and businesses join the ranks of conservation at home and conservation at work. The third giving level, Young Stewards, is a pledge of $1,000 a year for 5 years, which is just a little over $83 a month, less than $3 a day, less than my cup of Starbucks when I go to work in the morning. That gift would ensure that teachers like Bridget are able to provide Mighty Acorns programming, reaching 90 additional children each school year. Please join me today as a founding member of Strengthening Our Foundation campaign. And we thank you on behalf of all of the communities that we serve. Now, for those of you who may prefer to give at a different level, please look at the next line and simply tell us how much you would like to donate and for how many years. Whatever level of support each of us can provide today, know that we ask that you make your first payment on that pledge today. Whatever level we give, including the gift of your time and your presence at this luncheon today, we are grateful for that and appreciate your support. Now there's also a line, if you have ideas you'd like to share with us, check that box and someone from the foundation will contact you. On the back of the card is where you put all the information for payment and contact. So now, I'm going to give you a few minutes. Table captains, if there are questions at your table, please see that those are answered. But finish filling out those pledge cards. And when you have, pass those envelopes back to your table captain. If you do that now.
Demonstrated and the great support they have for the Conservation Foundation. I know all of us have many choices where we invest our time, where we invest our treasure, and obviously we feel very strongly about the Conservation Foundation. We greatly appreciate everything that you guys have done for us, and everything you'll do for us in the future. And with that, exactly at 1 o'clock, we adjourn this luncheon. Thank you all for coming.